Hi good people, hello good people. My name is Brenda Mahlobo. Welcome back to my channel. It is so good to have you here, and if you are not part of our family and you just happen to bump into this video, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button because it is absolutely free. So today, if not right now, I am starting a vlog. I'm traveling to Newcastle and it's a bit rainy, so I might be delayed a bit because I'm not that far from Newcastle, so it might take me a bit longer than usual. I'm just hoping, the surface is not that wet, especially that side, because here it's dry. Let me show you. It's so dry here, but coming from home, it wasn't as dry as it is here. So I guess it has not rained for like a couple of hours, because they say even in the morning it was raining. I think the time now is going for 3, 2:30 or so. So I'll catch up with you guys on my way, or probably when I get to the hotel. I don't know whether this is going to be in one video as the room tour or what, but yeah, let's go. I'm currently in Newcastle. It took an hour, what's the time now? It took slightly less than an hour, because now the time is 15:20. So I think I left Dundee at 14 something. There's just something about this place. Let me put you here. It's weird. Let me put you here. Yeah, it's better. I was saying there's just something about this place that reminds me of my late brother. I lost my brother last year, Feb, and I still want to do a video about the entire ordeal and how it left me feeling, how I'm still feeling, because I'm recovering. I'm not there yet. So, but there's just something about this place that reminds me of that, entire ordeal. I remember having to drive so early in the morning, driving from Pietermaritzburg and coming here to Newcastle, Madadeni to be exact. There's just landmarks about this drive that we take when we drive from Dundee to here, because this is exactly the route I used. Traveling from Pietermaritzburg. It was like way early in the morning, way too early. I was pregnant in my early trimester, the horrible trimester that I've experienced in my entire pregnancy. First trimester was horrible for me. I know it differs with every woman, but I guess I fall in the category of those women that go through the most during their first trimester. So I drove way early, like very early, because I needed to be here at 10 or 10:30. And as soon as the visitors, the first visitors of the day, are allowed in, I wanted to be amongst them, and I was going to be the only one who were to visit him that particular day. Just to give you like a background or the account, he was in CJM when he first got admitted. He was at the CJM hospital in Ngutu. So, and then they realized there's nothing they can do for him. He needed extra attention, in a more advanced hospital. And then they transferred him to this place, Emadadeni, Newcastle. So, I had like been following up with my family prior to that. When he first got admitted, I've been following up with phone calls and things like that, just wanting to find out how he was doing and things like that, because there was something huge that we were going through as a family. I had my own going through separately from that, because I just want to attempt explaining what my brother meant to me, and I feel like I'm not going to be able to find the exact words. So I'm not even going to try explaining what he meant to me and who he was, and hopefully still is wherever he is, even though I cannot access him. But I have this thing of just, when I want to close my eyes, or I just want to go in a space of, imagination. I just imagine him. There's like, I don't know, man. It's like there's a way I can tap into him, even though it's not the same. So he had been sick a couple of weeks before he got admitted. In fact, before he got married. But then we thought, no, probably 1, 2, and 3 type of thing. And then only after he got married that he, entered the health facility system in terms of running all the blood tests in the world. And then he was clear for most, except for kidneys. So his case was already bad. When we all found out he had kidneys, it was at the later stage, and he had to start dialysis straight away. So they transferred him here because here apparently they've got more equipment for people with kidney failure and things like that. So but it was bad, and I just knew. I said to myself, you know what? They're transferring him to another hospital. That alone just confirmed it to me. We're dealing with something serious here. And I told myself one thing, you know what? I need to be there. If these are his last days, I just need to see him. I don't care. It's just, I just wanted to go see him. There wasn't much I was going to do for him, but I wanted to be there. I've been praying. We were praying even prior to that, like literally praying, like doing it, all out, like the right way, like literally reading scriptures and praying and praying and praying, interceding for him. And when I heard that he got transferred to another hospital, it just all the hopes I had, they just vanished. From there, I said, if these are my brother's last days, I need to be there. I spoke to my supervisor at work, and then I told him this is what is going on. And also, I was not in a state of being away from home while my family is going through this, because now this is the pillar of our family. Umuthi omkhulu wefamily yakasithole yonke, the direct descendants of ugogo Makbega were shaken, because now this is an anchor who's sick, who's compromised, who's incapacitated. A lot was happening. I just needed to be there. I could not function with any other thing. And I'm still dealing with the fact that I'm pregnant during the pandemic. But I said to myself, you know what? Forget about everything. Forget about work. I need to go home. And then my supervisor understood, said, okay, just fill out the leave form and leave it under my door, because I stayed closer to the office. And then I did exactly that. I remember it was like 9:30 at night, when I was just like filling out my leave form, and then I left it, and then I drove. Mind you, I was sick. Those were the days I started feeling sick, morning sickness. Oh my God, I think I'm going to do a separate video, just recapping on my first trimester and things like that. So I was sick. I was in no state of driving the long distance, but I woke up. I just knew, for my own sanity, I need to go home, or else I'm also going to be admitted, because now you're trying to call people are not picking up. You're thinking people are trying to hide something from you. You're calling people, because there were still like two different times, where people could go visit their family members who were patient at the hospital. It was before the rise of COVID. It was during COVID, but it was it was still not that much of an issue. So I drove. I remember left Pietermaritzburg at 5, like way too early. Those are the times, 5, 6, 6:30. Those are the times I usually get sick the most. But I said to myself, my baby, and I spoke to my baby, I'm like, my baby, not today. Today I have to go see your uncle. And it's a matter of life and death. So I remember, when I'm saying there are landmarks here that reminds me of that incident. There's an engine garage not very far from where we are. That was my first stop. That was actually my first stop because I just, wanted a bathroom break, and I think I bought something to drink, and then I drove off to Emadaden, because Emadaden, when you go to Emadaden, you live the town vicinity and you go on the other side. But I was traveling from Pietermaritzburg, and it only made sense for me to just, what is this? This N level to drive straight, through the N11. And then I went to see him. When I got there, and then the guards told me, I cannot see him. You cannot see him because the visitors are close. And I said, I called the sister who was there last night, because when I went to fill out my leave form, I made a phone call finding out is he still there. No, we're like, no, we're quite aware of the patient that is coming, but he's not here yet. So I told them way before I was coming to see my brother. So I made that phone call, and then I spoke to the sister. I can't remember her surname right now. But then that reference assisted me, because the guard said, oh, okay, Sister so-and-so wasn't away because it just started today. It is only today where we got the communication that no visitors are going to be allowed in. So, they allowed me in, with that exception that I had called prior, and then they say my car registration is NP. I'm like, I'm driving from Pietermaritzburg. Whew! I'm driving from Pietermaritzburg and I need to see him. There's just no way I can drive so many hours. I left PMB at 5. It was still dark. So I just, it wasn't that much of an issue. As soon as I explained my story and the fact that I had called in, they let me in. And then when I got to the ward, he wasn't in. I think he had gone out to, I don't know, do something else with the nurses. So I waited on the bench outside for like a few minutes, and then I saw the bird they were pushing. Oh, I still remember that moment because I just saw his head. I'm like, no. And then we had a conversation with him. That was actually like the first time for me to see him in that state of him being in hospital. My family and my sister, and all our cousin had seen him while he was at SCJM. So for me, it's the first time seeing him in hospital clothes, looking at this massive man who's proud of who he is, who's big, who's tall, who's the leader in his family, in hospital clothes. And but I tried to hide everything, and it was just, joyous to see him. And then I gave him things I bought for him. Oh, before I went to the hospital, I went past the spa in Madadeni just to buy something. I knew he couldn't stomach a lot of things, and then at the particular time we knew it was kidneys. So even the things we were buying for him, had to be very selective in terms of, nutritional. So then I remember his doctor came in whilst we were still, just sharing pleasantries with him. And then he explained his condition, and he said if he does not start dialysis today, he did a sign would be sending him. We went like close to his bed. And then he started dialysis, and then the other nurses explained to me that entire process of, how that would look like. He's going to live on dialysis. And this video is taking a different shape, but I've been meaning to share this story with you guys. I've been meaning to share the story with you guys, but it had not felt right. There was just no moment that felt right for me to do it, and I didn't know what shape it was supposed to take, this video, like what shape is this video supposed to take. But now, I'm just been triggered seeing this place, and it's not even the first time coming here ever since his departure. I've been here, I think, a couple of times, 5 times or even more, but there was just something about today and me coming here that has me feeling like, you know what, I need to document this. I started this as a vlog, I'm still gonna go check in, but because we're here now, we've started with the story. I just might as well just try and just finish it up. And then, yeah, a couple of days after that, he got discharged. No, he didn't. He was transferred to a Grace Hospital in Maritzburg for like a couple of days because he needed another equipment that this district hospital did not have. There was still, they said at the time they had just placed an order, but because of COVID, everything was getting delayed. My voice is a bit, my volume is a bit, I don't know if you guys are going to hear me clearly. So, and then that entire process took place, and then it was finished. There was a time where he asked to come home before he goes to Maritzburg. He just said, I just need to go home first. Him being a Zulu man that he was so rooted, in who he was just not, gambling with his identity and things like that. I think for him to say that, there was just something he felt like. He just said, if I'm going there for an operation or anything like that, I just need to go home first. Please give me one day. It was something that they were not doing, but they granted him that wish. And I'm like, because there was a bit of also just a discussion around that, and also, amongst us as family members, if it was the right thing. And I said, if this is a last wish for a man who's dying, grant him. If going home is his last wish, grant him. And then he came through and he called everybody. All our mothers just sort of like are in the same area type of thing. So he called everybody, every brother and sister, mostly brothers. Sisters was just us, abahlali ekhaya. And you just to explain, I think for him, he just thought he's not going to come back from a Grace. Also, being referred to another hospital, and then how that hospital refers you to another, it just makes you think like, okay, it can do something in your mental state. Because I'm not getting assisted. This is just, my case is peculiar, and it looks like nobody's going to assist me at this point. Like I keep getting referred. So we had that meeting. I remember we had a time to break bread with him and everybody. We just gathered in his room. I still remember that moment vividly. He was still not okay because they had to just carry him out of the car, just help him out. Fast forward, he started dialysis, even the self-dialysis. There's another thing around that on its own, but that's not what I want to touch on, because knowing that you have to rely on doing that every day, and what that dialysis looks like. So a couple of months went by. When he first got admitted, it was beginning of the lockdown. Yeah, because I don't think I traveled back home from that time. I can't remember. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. So, but then when he first got admitted, it was after his wedding, the beginning of the lockdown. And then fast forward to December 2019, 2020, not 2019, December 2020. My son was born already, and so he also got sick. He got sick again. Something sort of like looked like something got complicated whilst was continuing with the dialysis and things like that. And then he went to hospital. He'd go like for his monthly checkups, because for somebody who's in dialysis, there's just no way you can detach yourself from the whole system like completely. You need to go for checkups. So he was doing that. He wasn't working at the time. The priority was for him to just get well. So we saw him ailing. We saw him struggle. So, and then he went for his checkup, his usual checkup, and he wasn't feeling okay. And that was the last time we saw him. Literally, I think, not December, January. Because I think his date was supposed to be on my birthday. Like his set date. But because he wasn't feeling well, he kept on calling saying, I'm going to come through. We called that he's going to come through. So he must have been early January. Early Jan. Yeah. And that was the last time we saw him. We started the entire process of calling in because remember, COVID was at its peak. No visitors were allowed. A couple of days and then we heard he's in ICU. Oh my God, he's not getting help. I still remember the conversations we had with him over the phone because he was still able to speak on the phone up until it got to a time where he couldn't speak on the phone. He was like full time on this machinery that we did not even know how it looked like. I relied on Google. I Googled because there was just something with his oxygen getting depleted. We went through that entire process of calling, finding out how is he up until this one time I called in in the morning, and the nurse who answered the phone, just the usual, how is he, how did he sleep, and then I could hear somebody speaking in the background, and it was his doctor. So I think the doctor, upon hearing that they're talking about Isaac Ustole, and then he said, if there's a family of Isaac, I'm the one who wants to give the feedback. Please tell her to call back, I think at 10:30 or at 10. So then the nurse, I could hear that there was a conversation happening, even though I wasn't clear of what it was being said. So and then the nurse conveyed the message to me. I got worried, as if I wasn't worried already, hearing the ICU terminology when I want someone to get better. If I want my family members to get better, and then I hear the terminology ICU, intensive care units, and then I got alarmed, and I told my mother, and I told, I think that whoever I was able to talk to at that time, his wife, I think, and I said the doctor said he wanted to talk to me. I started losing hope again, hearing that, because we'd been calling for like a couple of days prior to that, because we did not just go and get admitted at the intensive care unit. No, he started in a different ward, but then his case, it just needed advanced care and attention, and then they transferred him to that ICU. When the doctor said he wanted to talk to me, I knew something was up. We might not, because remember, there was a time where he got admitted earlier, and then we were praying, and he got out, and then we had him in the family just after the Grace and all that, Grace Hospital, Matadeni CJM, and then he came back home. But when the doctor said he wanted to talk to me, I knew I needed to prepare myself. So, and then the call happened. I asked every possible question that can come from somebody who's taken time to read through, for people, with to read about people going through dialysis and complications during the times of COVID. I asked him informed questions up until I even asked that I know he's a typical Zulu man who's very proud, to be himself and things like that. And I know he's strong mentally, but I just wanted to find out throughout this process, how is he mentally? How is he? Is he in a state of compliance? Yes, whatever you say he needs to do, or whatever kind of medication you want to administer to him, is he receptive? What state is he in? And the doctor said it's difficult to tell, because we have not spoken to him. I think he said in 3 days. It's difficult for him to tell. He said that to me. Any other question that I asked him, he tried to be diplomatic around, his answers. He tried, in as much as he wanted me to know the truth and convey it to my family, but I could still tell he's just giving general answers. He's tiptoeing around, with answers. But when he said it's difficult to tell, I just knew he was there, man, in a different world. I don't know whether he had started the journey of going to the other world. I don't know, but that for me just, it showed me what state he was in. It just, and then I think it was a matter of days, I think 3 days after that, or 4. And then we got the call. It was at night, half past 6 to 7, or 7:30. I remember I had gone to town. We were in town with my mother earlier with my son, and my son was crying, man. We came back and my son was just crying hysterically. My son just, was just inconsolable. I'm like, what is going on? And then I said to myself, perhaps it's because besihambile mini and mhlamba abantu, I don't know, abantu in town just, somehow had a way with how he felt. Let me wash him. I'm like, I need to just bath him and just, cool him off. Perhaps it's that. My son was crying. And I was worried at the time because there was just something different about how he cried. He was crying. Just, as I just prepared him, ngimgqokisa, putting on his clothes, I saw Uspe. So me and my brother did not stay in the same yard, but we were in the same vicinity. We were just like a matter of, I think, 2 or 3 houses away from each other. So that's like home. He stayed Kastole. My mother's surname, umama Mastole, and then mina ngihlala kaMahlobo. But like, this is like home for me, for both these houses. There's different houses, like it's like the same. So Uspe came from Kwastole, so now our homestead KwaMahlobo. I remember him again while I was just dressing my son, preparing my son. I just looked at him. He was like, he kept on saying, Auntie. I just looked at him and then I shut him off. I said, please don't say anything. I was, in the lounge at the time. Yeah, I was in the lounge dressing my son on top of the couch. And when Uspe came in and I just looked at him, nobody told me anything. I just looked at him and I said, he kept on saying, Auntie, Auntie. And I was like, do not say anything. Oh, he had started, in my mother's bedroom. He started in my mother's bedroom and then came, to the lounge where I was with my son. And I said, do not say anything. I just looked at him and I knew, and I did not want him to say anything because I felt like if I'm stopping him to say anything, then nothing happened, basically, in my mind. But if I allow him to tell me what I think he's going to tell me, then I'm sort of like accepting this. And there's just no flipping way I can accept it. And I said, do not say. And then I took my son and I went to my mother's bedroom. As soon as I got there, I saw my mother Mbeti. He was just getting, ready. Fiddling with this and fiddling with that. I knew our lives were to change for, I don't know for what. I knew our lives will never be the same. I knew we will never be the same. I started looking into death. What does it mean when somebody dies? What does it mean when someone dies? Where do they go? Where is them? Where's the actual person? Because I can see the body and stuff. I wasn't interested in that part. I was just interested in finding out what happens when people die. Because that changed my world. It changed my perspective, changed my spiritual life. Because at that particular time, we were praying, even fasting, like don't know why this person is standing here and is making me uncomfortable. This guy is just like standing here. So I knew our lives will never be the same. The death that defined the meaning of the word death, I had to re-look into that as if I'm not aware what it means if someone dies. I had to re-look into that. I did not know. I'm not even someone, I think in funerals mostly, I'm not someone who would get really hysterical and and be crying and be consoled there. Your head is falling off that side and you weave. I've never been that person, but I cried throughout. I was a bit like, hey, kulungile. When I finally, eventually, when my mother told me ukuthi awusekubhedile mntanami, I don't know, ngambeka phansi umntanami athi that's why belokhu ekhala ukhanyisa. Hey, and I kept on saying, hey, kulungile man, he's resting, because we could see he's not okay. Sometimes you'd visit him, umfice eshweka man, ubhuti engekho right, and then uzufeel bad ukuthi bengiyaphi, uze feel bad ukuthi bengiyaphi. Every time we'd cook something and we feel proud of our meals, simphakele. We bake cakes, simhambisele. Apha ngiseluxoli, his daughter said, how njalo nje nenhliziyo nilethela ubaba. What about us? You've got your kidneys functioning and things like that. We just joke about that. Every time you feel good about, what you were cooking, even though he was like a typical Zulu man, not into izinto zenu lezi, more pasta and stuff, local and spices. No, he was a simple man of honor. Into faka onions no sawoti, ubilise still ibe mnandi. But that was taken away from us. He was taken away from us. He was taken away from me. And, when he was still, able to talk, pick up his phone, he never shared a side of, him giving up. But I heard to some people, he'd say, but with me, he always tried. And just, I don't know whether he knew it was going to break me. And I feel like he did not want me to break, on the phone while he could still hear. He hid it from me. For me, to me, he was just this ngudlu, not by mistake. And I just unfortunately cannot translate what ngudlu means, because I think even esiZulwini igama elithi ngudlu alikho. But if you understand Zulu, bembiza ngudlu edlumbili. Oh, I'm yet to delete his number on my phone. I'm yet to delete his number. I miss him so much. I keep reliving these times. It's like, man, this past season, the first of season, bengimbona, not him, ngimbona garage. People used to dress like him because it was the time where would come back home. Oh, man, I've never been the same ever since. I live with this so hard. But we move on because we have to move on. I think you'd want me to move on and but I had moments, and I think my job transfer did a lot for me, more than it did, more than the intentions I had behind. Like, my main thing was to be closer to my son, and I knew there was no way I was going to raise my son in Pietermaritzburg, flat na kuphi kuphi. So I just wanted him to be at home with my mother. I think it transfer mina ingisizile yangilapha in a way. Yes, I'm closer to my mother, but I'm closer to my family. We go through things together.
even though individually we go through things when we go to bed and nobody talks about it, but the fact that I'm at home, I'm surrounded by people who understand what I may be going through, because they're also going through. It's like in different levels. I even said perhaps I need to see someone. I went back home after my maternity leave was up. I went back, not home, back to work. And I'd cry, man, I'd sob till 2 a.m. and I'd be praying and I'd be crying. And I'll be asking myself questions. I just wanted to know how he was in his last days. Was it a matter of, yes, Lord, if this is your will, let your will be done, or he was still fighting? Because my brother was a fighter. My brother was a fighter. uNkulunkulu wayempha amandla amakhulu, he had this power within him. I keep saying ayikho into umfowethu ayehlule ukuyenza, ayikho into eyayimhlula except ukufa okwamhlula. But recently I'm off a mindset ukuthi mhlambe there's even victory in death. If we look really deep into it, perhaps there's victory in death. You'll hear people saying, I'm no longer want to be here because now I don't know, sebelangazelela that other life that we don't know of. I'm beginning to think perhaps there's victory attached to dying. I don't know, because umfowethu akakaze ahluleke. They did not name him uNgudlungudlu for nothing, and he was taken away from us. Angiboni ukuthi ngiyokhohlwa, mhlambe angeke ngikhohlwe kodwa ngizofunda ukuphila nayo le pain. I had lost people before, some even close to me, but I've never experienced such agony. The year that was, I've never experienced such pain. There's just something about this place that takes me back to that. Whew. I guess I'm having one of those moments even today where I'm thinking about that. So yeah, I guess this is a long video already. I'll film the room tour separately, but it's still gonna be today because I need to go in there. Let me show you. I still need to go in there and check in, and I look a mess, and go get something to eat. So thank you guys for watching. I don't know if there's anybody there who's going to come across this video who's lost somebody so close in their lives and they felt like their lives will never be the same again, and they did not even want to go on. They could not even imagine their lives without this person. Please just let me know. Share with me in the comment section if you know a pain of losing someone you like or someone you loved so dearly. Please let me know, and thank you so much for watching.